Hello and welcome to the daily English news program on Azərbaycan Television with the most important events of the day. I'm your host, Rövşən. Those battles, which began 2 years ago with the provocation of the Armenian army, are one of the glorious pages in Azerbaijan's history, demonstrating the strength of our army, the enemies. These battles instilled in our people confidence to the upcoming victory. It's not accidental that 2 months later, preventing another provocation of the enemy, our army hasn't stopped this time and reached Shusha. Our lands were liberated from the occupation.
On the day when Armenians subjected to fire from large and small caliber artillery weapons our Ağdam village and Qaragaya elevation, we were doing our household chores. Very heavy battles were taking place.
During the Tovuz battles, which started on July 12th and continued for 4 days, the enemy received an adequate response. Suffering heavy losses, the Armenian army retreated. Azerbaijan's modern military capabilities landed a blow to Armenia. The July battles were also the beginning of the great victory, a moment of the strengthening Iron Fist.
I can say that yet another provocation of Armenia was resolutely prevented and adequately rebuffed. The deaths of our soldiers has been avenged. All the attempts of the Armenian side failed. Azerbaijan protected its state border, and Armenian soldiers could not cross even an inch into Azerbaijani territory.
They shed their blood for their native land. They gave their lives for their motherland. Major General Polat Hashimov, Colonel Ilgar Mirzaev, 2 majors and 12 servicemen of the Azerbaijani army became martyrs in battles. Our house is across from the Qaragaya. We were very worried when we saw what happened, because our sons were there. My son became a martyr in this battle. I am proud of my son that I raised such a son. Until the last days of my life, looking at Qaragaya, I will wait for his return. Helpless before our armies, the vile enemy shelled our village. A 76-year-old resident of the Tovuz village of Ağdam, Aziz Azizov, died.
On the morning of July 12th, vile Armenians began shelling our village, and on July 14th, an artillery shell fell into our house. My grandfather died. I'm proud of my grandfather. His blood did not remain unavenged. Karabakh was liberated from the occupation.
During the Tovuz battles in the villages of Ağdam, Vahidli, Dondar Quşçu, Yuxarı Öysüzlü, Xacalılı, Koxan Nəbi, houses were damaged. As a result of enemy shelling from heavy artillery, the village of Ağdam, with a population of 1,500 people, 15 houses were destroyed. 4 of them were rebuilt at the expense of the state budget. 11 were repaired and restored and handed over to the residents. According to the Ministry of Defense, in line with the combat training plan for 2022, the military personnel of mechanized units carried out practical training exercises on driving and fire training. During the training exercises, the driver mechanics improved their skills in managing combat vehicles, and the gunner operators improved their abilities in shooting from various types of weapons. All the assigned tasks were successfully accomplished as the practical training exercises conducted to further improve the combat readiness of mechanized units. "51 more mines were detected on the territories liberated from the occupation. During the mine cleaning operations in Terter, Ağdam, Xocavənd, Şuşa, Füzuli, Qubadlı, Cəbrayıl and Zəngilan districts, 45 inter-personnel and 5 anti-tank mines, as well as 264 unexploded ordnances were found and neutralized from July 4th to 8th. Azerbaijan's Mine Action Agency said in a statement, as a result, 586 hectares were cleaned of mines and exploded ordnances, the agency added. Chair of the Milli Məclis Səibə Qafarova met with Lord John McFall, Speaker of the House of Lords, as part of the official visit to the United Kingdom. It was underlined that the United Kingdom considers Azerbaijan an important partner and attaches great importance to the development of our relations. Səibə Qafarova said that interparliamentary relations are one of the most important components of bilateral and multilateral relations between countries. During the meeting, information was also provided on the patriotic war and the situation in the region after the conflict. Chair of the Milli Məclis, Səibə Qafarova, also met with the leader of the Great Britain-Azerbaijan Interparliamentary Friendship Group, MP Bob Blackman, and other members of the group. It was noted that our relations had developed successfully for 30 years. The United Kingdom is one of the main trade partners of Azerbaijan and one of the countries that makes the biggest investments in our economy. The activities of the United Kingdom companies in our territories liberated from occupation, including the successful cooperation in the demining of the territories and other fields, were especially emphasized. The families of our martyrs who sacrificed their lives for the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, as well as those disabled in the war, are under special attention of the state. The implemented social support measures have expanded even further in the post-war period. The implementation of consistent special programs will be increased in the next period as well.
Strengthening social protection of the families of martyrs and war veterans is a main line of the state policy. Large-scale social support measures are implemented in order to improve the living conditions and well-being of persons from this category. If we look at the numbers, it's clear that this support is not reflected in words, but in deeds. In the post-war period, 100,000 people, including family members of martyrs and veterans, were provided with 190,000 services. 104,000 social payments have been assigned. Monthly social payments were made to about 8,000 people who are family members of the martyrs, about 81,900 people among Second Karabakh War veterans. Although the program to provide housing has been expanded 5 times, in the post-war period, 3,500 and in total 12,500 families of martyrs and war-disabled persons were provided with apartments and individual houses, while 264 war-disabled persons were provided with cars. After the Patriotic War, more than 12,100 families of veterans of martyrs have been involved in active employment programs. A total of 200 servicemen of the Patriotic War and 300 disabled veterans of the war have been provided with the latest generation processes. More than 1,400 disabled veterans of the war have been provided with more than 19.3 thousand rehabilitation aids. 2,500 veterans were provided with rehabilitation services and 5,000 families with social-psychological services. War participants are also sent to foreign countries for treatment, and since July 1st, new criteria to be applied in the field of disability have been determined. All of this once again confirms that the strengthening of social protection of social vulnerable population groups, including those with disabilities, families of martyrs, disabled and veterans of war, mine victims, is taking a massive character. Social programs will be expanded in the next period as well.
That was all for today. Thank you for being with us and see you next time.